What's going on, everyone? This is Sherry, and you are tuned into She Said What She Said, the podcast where we interview badass women, usually in the sports world and beyond. So, tonight is a special occurrence. It's only happened, this is the fourth time that my guest is not a woman. I have a true live man on tonight. Oh my God. Ah. But, the women, they have to be badass to get on the show. The men have to be extraordinary and they have to support the badass women. And so that is what we are doing this evening. We are going to be interviewing the Chicago Kid. So he has his own podcast, Mike on the Mic, which I absolutely love the name. But most importantly, he does Chicago Sky and WNBA reporting. So unlike some guys out here, I won't name any names, but they did not know that Candace Parker doesn't even play for the Sky anymore. This man knows what's going on in the world of the WNBA. Let's bring in Mr. Michael Hughes. Hello.
Hi, Sherry.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just another day in the shy.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Whoa. Oh man, I had to. When I heard it was a rare occurrence that any man has been on there, I said I had to make an amazing impression.
Yep. Nope. I got buddies that, we used to play in the NFL. Can I come on your show? No.
Yeah.
No, you can't. No, you're a dude.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your podcast. Who are you? Give us the intro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kid. That's what it is. But no, I grew up in Chicago. Sports has been my entire life. My dad was a Chicago sports artist, and he did caricatures for Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, all up and down. So I was always at every crafts event. I was always at every single signing event for this guy just to hand somebody a picture. And that just got me into it. And he's no longer with us, but so I did want to say happy early Father's Day to my guy. But I just carried on that torch and started Mike on the Mic back in 2020. Stumbled my way into the WNBA as a reporter, and we do Skyline. Skyline's my podcast, and we do that reporting. We have post-game, pre-game interviews with former Candace Parker, Chicago Sky, Kalia Copper, Dana Evans, and everybody else throughout the entire organization, top to bottom. Just been covering them the last 2 years professionally, and the last 3 years kind of just on my own. It's been a blast. Team USA, we did Team USA this year. That was probably the highlight of everything. That was sick. And yeah.
I love it. So a buddy of mine's dad is actually the president of USA Basketball. This little FYI. Uh-oh. Come back, Mike. Everyone's been having problems with the internet tonight. I got logged out of StreamYard. I got logged out of Facebook, Gmail. When I turned my computer on, there was nothing. And so he's having issues with the internet. I know T-Nick is having issues with his internet. I don't know what is going on this evening. But while we wait for Mike to get back, come back, Mike. I can improv a little bit for you guys. So I usually don't talk about myself on this show because I like to highlight my guests. But I did have a race last weekend in Cincinnati. It wasn't one of my highlight races, but I did win my age group. So, and it looks like Mike is back in the house, so I can stop talking about myself. Yes, hello, welcome back.
I died for like 2 seconds. I don't know what happened. It was my computer just went. It's currently charging. It was already charging as we speak. That's cool.
That's why we all have backup plans.
Man, that was just a horrible. It doesn't even make it make sense. Like the math's not mathing right now. I don't know. Oh, now it's on. This is
and that's what you feel free to switch over, but I couldn't share anything to Facebook. I had to message to, he's like, everything's on there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a full moon.
Man, you would think. I'm trying to see if I can get this right, but we can keep going. That's completely fine. We can do it off here.
Absolutely. You know what? And that's the nice part about both of us being, doing this relatively often.
Man,
Shit happens. Sometimes you just gotta fly by the seat of your pants.
I feel like it heard that I was one of the only guys to ever be on this podcast, and it was like, let me ruin it for the next guy.
Yeah. Let me be like, that next cool dude. Nah, we're good. No, but so when you die, we were talking about Team USA.
Yeah,
That has got to be incredible. So so this was 2022, correct?
it was actually the beginning of this year.
Oh, beginning of this
So
year.
it was DT Kelsey, which was very interesting when the scandal and everything came out about Hamby. But it was Kelsey, Sabrina, Ka. Elena was actually there, which was great to see her back in action after her back. And I also fanboyed about Elena because obviously I grew up watching her. But it was just her. I'm forgetting it. I know Stewie wasn't there. I'm trying to DT. How the hell? I don't know how I forgot. I got to talk to DT. That was probably my
Wow.
favorite experience.
Wow. Yeah.
Very disappointed that Sue wasn't there, obviously. But
Okay.
that's been my big one. I still working on it. I want to at some point do something with Sue. Don't know what that's gonna be, but I'm manifesting it right now.
Got it. We'll put it into the air because didn't they just do her official jersey retirement?
Yeah, it was so
Like
sick.
like this week.
It was
Was
so
it this
dope.
week
I think it was. I think it
or
was just
last
a
week?
few days ago. Yeah,
I just remember seeing it like end of an era, but talk about an era that
man.
span. I mean, how many years was she in the league?
It's 21. I think 21.
Yeah, I don't know how old you are. I'm 38, about to be 39, and it feels like my whole life, like it was
Yeah, I had 2 years,
super.
2 years
Mhm.
without Bird. I'm only 23, so it's kind of like not Michael, like LeBron James to me. Like
Mhm.
I was around before LeBron, but I don't remember a
You
time
don't
without
remember?
LeBron.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that is interesting to think about. And it's kind of like when Michael Jordan first retired
Right,
for my generation, right?
right.
Because you see people playing now, and sometimes you're like, man, he's got to be really old. And I look, and he's younger than I am. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
100%. It kind of
okay.
hurts now too, because like, not to get off topic, but like when you're a kid, these guys are older than you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, I look up to you. Maybe one day I'll be like you, and now I got LaMelo Ball making more money than me, and I'm like, I remember when you were at Chino Hills in high school as a freshman, and I was a senior. Like, how did you pass me? And it's like, dang.
Yeah, I mean it's the circle of sports is really what it is, right? Because when you're in college, those are your peers, and now I'm looking
Right,
at like these young kids, and I don't know how people can be college coaches when your whole life is put on
right.
all your money's about 19-year olds, like all the bad decisions that we made at
Oh
that
man,
age.
man, don't even get me. Can't even talk, Sherry. We could talk about it after this, but I can't even get into like the stuff, man. We were doing like ridiculous.
Oh, okay. So your dad got you, into the sport.
Yeah,
Was there, how were you as an athlete? Were you more of a spectator? Like, did you excel at any sports particular, or what was your athletic career like?
yeah. I was an athlete. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell me I wasn't. But it's I'm retired. I'm very. They call me the Derrick Rose of my generation because I'm just always hurt. It's just how it
Got
goes.
it.
Coming off an Achilles tear right now, but no, like my first it's not my first love, but it was something where I realized I'm better than you. And that was like the
Mm-hmm.
humblest way to say it was track and field. Track and field. I came in second and third in the state in back-to-back years. My freshman and sophomore year, or maybe it was even eighth grade and freshman year. But that was really something that I was excelling at. Lacrosse was something that in my neighborhood, guys don't play lacrosse, so it was something where I just got into it. It's some TV show
What neighborhood are you from?
I'm from Jefferson Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really just like a football, basketball kind of neighborhood, and I was really into baseball. I loved baseball. Played all 4 years in high school, and I actually just went back last year to fill in as an assistant coach for the entire year for a coach that had some personal issues going on. But I got to coach at my high school. We actually won our first playoff game in 12 years, and I call it the Mike Hughes effect. Other people call it luck. But baseball, lacrosse, track and field. I'm a export hooper, I would call it. It's
Okay.
not coordinated at all, not organized at all. Just kind of show up, and I'm like the Patrick Beverly of export. I kind of just talk a lot of shit and score my 4 points and go home. But
got it.
Yeah, I kind of dabbled in everything. The one thing I just wasn't rocking with was soccer, and it was once you hit like 7 years old and kids start doing crazy feet tricks, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me.
This isn't for me. I got it. What event in track did you do?
I did the standing long jump, the 1600, and the 800.
Okay, a little this.
Yeah,
I ran the 400 right here.
man.
Right here. The Pennsylvania State University.
400's a demon. The 400
back in the day, back before you were almost born.
And that's okay.
That's okay. I was with my college best friend over the weekend in Cincinnati. We were on the University of Cincinnati campus, and we were saying like how much nicer it is. Like maybe I would have, thought about going there years ago. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you mean 20 years ago?" I was like, "Go fuck yourself."
Right.
But, yeah, it was actually 21 years ago that I was taking my recruiting visit. So.
Oh man.
So you got so the love of sports, and then I got to ask you. So as a younger Chicago kid, right? Because my generation, all the guys I know from Chicago, I'm from Michigan, but all the Chicago guys grew up Jordan. That is what it was. Your generation, are you guys rocking the Bulls? Like, are you, what was your hometown hero for your generation?
It was Derek, 100%. And that was something, like, I'm from Jefferson Park, but I've never hid the fact that I wasn't a troublemaker, but I was definitely in a bunch of neighborhoods that I shouldn't have been in, just hanging out, doing stuff with my friends and my buddies from football, baseball, all over the place. Growing up here, experiencing the things that I've seen and the things that I've experienced, and just overall, just growing up in Chicago, like Derrick Rose is more to me than Michael Jordan. And that's no disrespect to Michael Jordan. It's just, to Michael, he was a ghost. He's the guy I've always heard stories of. He's a guy I've watched all the tape on, The Last Dance. I've heard the rumors. You walk into the United Center and you feel him. Like, he's there. It's the house he built. But Mike wasn't that guy in the sense of, hey, he's like us. Like, that's our guy. Like, we know him. Like, I actually know, not personally, like on a friend level, but like I've seen Ayo Dosunmu play. I've seen Taylor Horton Tucker play in person. He actually dunked on one of my buddies at an export, and I thought they were like, "You got next?" And I was like, No. I'll go over there and hang out on the treadmill. But when you look at a guy like Derrick Rose, even though things didn't go the way we wanted them to, or the way people might have wanted them to, he, to me, was my biggest hero and my biggest influence, because he showed you that, he's a rose growing out of the concrete, and he's somebody that made it through the jungle. And that's just something that is very hard to replicate. And at that level, youngest MVP ever, probably will never be replicated again. But I hope one day somebody proves me wrong.
He still is, isn't he? Dang.
Yeah, he's still in there. He's still hanging out. I think he might end up being a free agent if he declines his. I think he's the one that has to decline his option. It's not a team.
Okay, yeah.
So could have a hometown hero coming back, but I'm hoping for it, because
it's amazing. I mean, like, how many times he's been in the league, and I'm like, wait, he still is active in the league, and that's, for all the injuries he's had, that's pretty incredible. That tenacity. To not just take your money and go home. Yeah.
I mean, and that's really just an attest to like who he is. And I think I've read his book. I've listened to every single thing he's had to say about everything, damn near. I'm a fanboy, complete fanboy.
Got it.
And just understanding that he doesn't care about any of it is just so huge for me. And it's like understanding there's so much more than basketball, and there's so much more than what you would typically see in a multimillionaire. And I think that in Derrick Rose has just been growing throughout the years. And it's been really cool to watch him grow, see where he falls versus to how he got up. And, there's so many different ways you can break that down. I can go on a whole tangent about Derrick Rose, but
I love it. The rose that grew from the concrete.
yeah,
Taking back some Tupac lyrics right from there.
that's my guy as well. But that's a whole different pod.
Before your time.
Hey, but I was feeling it my whole life, But
I love it. I love it. So, did you, by any chance, ever see the documentary Hoop Dreams? Have you heard of it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard of it, but I haven't. I don't think I've seen it.
So that's going to be your homework to watch it. I want you to watch it and tell me what you think, because it was done over such a long span of following kids with these basketball dreams and just seeing, what it can be and what it can't be.
Right.
Because everyone thinks like, oh, I'm going to be the next great thing. And there's just so many different things that can take a kid out or put you on the wrong path, or you're just not talented enough.
And that's okay too. Like I do a lot of work with After School Matters. I do a lot of my own coaching on the side and, trying to just impact the game as much as I can, impact people as much as I can. And I think one of the most important things in that is just staying. I think not quitting and seeing something through is one of the most important things to me. Because if you quit in AAU basketball, you're going to quit on everything you ever do in life. And I heard Bron say something very similar to that recently, talking about his daughter with Candace Parker, actually, the Las Vegas Aces, Candace Parker. But, I think it speaks volumes to everything, and especially in these kind of communities and these kind of areas where, you either need to be a rapper, a drug dealer, or a basketball player to make it out. And to give them an idea of, well, hey, listen, you don't need to be the best scorer on the team. You can just play your role, and letting them know that there's different roles that you could play. And what I mean by that is a trade school or, construction, or go to college. Like if college is for you, then go. But there's so many different aspects to life, just like there are in basketball, to where, like I made a joke about Patrick Beverley the other day, but that man does his role and that man plays his part very well. What that is, I don't know, because I'm a Bulls fan, but I've seen him play it well in other places. But I just think I carry that into everything. And I think it's definitely a documentary. I really will take you up on that, and I'll definitely let you know what I think after I watch it.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. There was an old commercial back in the day for the NCAA where it said most of us go pro in something other than sports. Yeah. And that really is like, you can use sports. And if you can use sports to get you like a free ride to college, that's incredible. But my advice when people ask me all the time was like, what's your advice for someone trying to get a college scholarship? It's athletics. And I'm like, focus on academics. Right. Get your grades up, because when you have good grades, the world is so much more open. In certain sports like track, where you have partial scholarships, you can get half academic, half athletic. You can get full academic somewhere and walk onto a team. There's just so much more that you can do when you don't bank everything on just your one little sport, right? Because it's a high pressure. It's a high pressure world out there. And not everyone can take the pressure.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like I think the pressure is something that it's not real. And I think that's something that a lot of people think is real. It's all a mindset. And I think, my big thing and what I pride myself, like I love Kobe. Kobe was my Michael Jordan. Always will be. That's someone, I was there. When y'all had Kobe, it was like airball Kobe. I had like 3P and Kobe. So the one thing I don't like about Kobe's Mamba mentality is it's not that I disagree, I just don't feel it. And it's like when you're tired and it's 4 a.m. and you don't want to work, just get up and work. And for me, it's like, no, like what? No, like why would I do that? But I heard Jimmy Butler say the other day, if I don't do it, somebody else is. And that for me is everything, because that's exactly what this city is like. That's exactly what, you meet people who are just such insane hustlers and so amazing to their craft. And, even to what you said about the academics, if academics aren't your thing, I'm a Wilbur Wright success story in the sense of like, I went to Wilbur Wright, dropped out of that school 3 times because I just didn't feel it. And right now I'm a producer and content creator at CHGO, and I'm doing my thing over there in the West Loop, and they do amazing things over there too, with so many other amazing people from all over the world. And to get to where I got wasn't because of anything I learned in an academic room, and I can say that. And it's not to say fuck college. College is an amazing place if you know why you're supposed to be there. For me, I understood. Listen, I grew up ADD, had vision issues with reading, tracking, stuff like that, and just did not care to be there. But sports was why I was there, and that was such a huge part of it. My friendships, my relationships were why I was in those buildings. That's why I graduated high school by the scave of my teeth. But it's something for me that if that's not you, that's okay. Like, networking is definitely something you can do. Figuring out your niche, whatever you're good at. Like, my dad was an artist. No one taught him that. He just met people through doing that and met so many people doing it. And it's kind of the same thing with me. I just started meeting people, and building these relationships. And I think that's so important, especially with what you said, is like, it really doesn't matter what the pressure is, because it's your story at the end of the day. You could do nothing. I mean, I remember there was a story about Oprah, and I'm not going to do a whole long tangent about Oprah, but like, she got fired at like 23 from her job at a studio. And it's like, dude, you fired Oprah? And it's like, she didn't get on until she was like 30 something. And it's like, that's something where from ages 23 on, she probably thought she was a failure. And now it's like, it's fucking Oprah, dude.
Well, Michael Jordan got cut from his freshman year basketball team.
Exactly.
So
That to me is just,
imagine being the guy that cut Michael Jordan,
man,
but he released a monster. He really is something you just, yeah, I think that's what, like, I don't think he would be Michael Jordan if he hadn't gotten that cut.
no longer involved in basketball athletics, I would imagine. I don't think I would let that man back in my facilities.
Man, it's wild. But so how did you end up with the Sky doing the WNBA stuff? You kind of said you fell into that. How did that come about?
Yeah, I worked with the ASAP network for a long time, and my role just kind of continued to grow there. I was doing 7 shows a day, it felt like, and I was doing them like 7 days a week. I was just hustling, like, I was having fun. Amazing people over at the All Sports All Plays network, and I just pitched the idea. Like, we had the credentials for it. We had the amount of whatever we needed to be able to get into the WNBA. We had it. And I said, no one's covering this. I love this. I think it would be huge for us. And shout out to my guy, Jay Ness, because he's our CEO and owner, and he believed in it, and he let me run with it. I said, I want to call it Skyline. I think first I called it Skytown, but that's trademarked. So had to call it Skyline going into season 2, but it's okay. It's all love. It's all love. But it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, Skyline is something that's my baby, man. And just doing this, I was raised by women, and my best friend is a 2.5-year-old little girl and my niece, and just being able to do this and just building these relationships with the people I've built them with has just been such a blast. And it's a blessing that they allow me in that facility, and they allow me into their lives. And it's just been so much fun.
That is incredible. And I do like the name. So don't feel bad about it. When I saw it, I was like, I like that when you the little logo, the skyline. It's like, yeah, that makes sense for the Chicago Sky.
Yeah, I was rocking with Skytown.
I mean, Skytown, yeah, but if it's trademark, it's trademarked.
I was like, got me. Can't lie. Can't even be mad.
Yeah, no, it's a fun one. And so you said it's the second season of this one?
So it's the third for me.
Third. Okay.
I did do the second Candace came through the building. I was like, I started my podcast in 2020, so it was just perfect timing. I was like, no, we're definitely doing a version of the Sky, but I wasn't out there enough yet. So I still did it on Mike on the Mic. There was no
okay.
So after the championship run, I have the entire championship run and that entire season on Mike on the Mic. And then I started Skytown in season 2, which was 2022, and now Skyline. I feel like every year I'm just going to change the name, but it's been a blast. It's been a blast.
That's incredible. Not a lot of men watch the WNBA. not a lot of men respect the WNBA. What would you say to those men?
Fuck them. It's like to me, it's like that's cool. Like I don't have a problem with it. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you think like, and this is quotations because this is what I always see in my Facebook. If you think it's a layup competition, if you think it's this, if you think it's that, that's fine. Like you have a right to that opinion. You're wrong. I'll say that. If you gave it a shot, I promise you, I've met some guys who are from the craziest parts of this city, are from the most homophobic and non-gender appreciating type of neighborhoods in the world who at first were like, Mike, what are you doing? And now they're watching me do what I'm doing and they're loving every single second of it and they're here for it. And you start to really hear them say, hey man, like you got me actually watching a couple Sky games. And I'm like, no, bro, like I just put you on. You're watching it because you're watching it. And it's like that for me is like I love that feeling. When I got guys who just they're the men, like they hate anything that's not what your typical scenario is, the Cowboys, Red Dead Redemption type guys. Like I'm like, bro, just give it 2 seconds, and then Candace Parker hits a three, and they're just like, damn. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like, that's okay. Like you will not tell me golf is cool. That's me. You know what I mean? Like that's at this point in my life, that's me. At some point, maybe that changes. Tiger Woods kind of changed that for me a little bit. I really got into it. Tiger kind of left, and I was like, all right, I'm not into this anymore. But that's
right.
something.
Yeah, I would say though, for one thing, for me, I do find myself that I do watch more college women hoops than I do WNBA because it's during the winter and it's during basketball season. It's like I have a hard time in the summer wanting to put basketball on, right? Like I don't necessarily think about like, oh, it's basketball season, right? And that's really, I got you. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's a pro and a con for our players, right? Because if the WNBA was in the winter, we're not paying them enough to do that versus overseas. So we do get them here. So what are your thoughts? Do you see the WNBA ever moving to the winter to match the NBA, or do you think it's going to be in the summer for a foreseeable future?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to DT about it, and it's Diana Taurasi for
for the people that
for the Terrences out here. But no, it's all love, T. But no, I've talked to her about it. I've talked to obviously Sloot many times about it. Kelsey is KP is one of the best advocates. She's a part of the union, and I think she's the president of the union or the vice president of the players union over there. So she really is just big on advocating about that, and they want it to be a year-round thing to where they're getting paid year-round, and the same way Zach LaVine's getting paid money to one, barely even hoop, and then two, to do it in the summer. And it's like that's something that I think we've had these conversations about BG, about individuals having to go play overseas, and some love it and some really don't want to be there, and that's really the reality of it. So I think the idea for me is why it's best where it is because, like we talked about earlier, there's the individuals who are like, yo, I'm not into this. It's not my thing. Well, right now we're in a window where you're either watching the Chicago Sky or one of the Chicago's baseball teams. And at this very point in time, I would rather watch a Sky game than any of that. Cubs or Sox. I'm hating on both. Like, it's not a good time. And
it's trash. It's trash television. Exactly.
It's a bad time, and it's man, you can't even get into that. But it's something that I think they can hit on, and I think it's going to continue to grow throughout the summertime shy, seeing the fits, seeing what Alana Smith kills fits, Kalia Copper kills fits, Dana Evans kills it. Courtney Williams makes me laugh. Courtney Williams will pull up and she dresses like me, and it's my favorite part because like everyone's dressed so proper, and then Courtney just pulls up in a tracksuit, and I'm like, same. Like that's really where I would come from with it. But to see them being able to do the things that they're doing, I mean, I think summer is just the perfect opportunity for that because football is still you're paying attention to it, but you're not. Basketball's done, obviously hockey's over. So I think if they were to grow the league, I think the summer would be the best. And then with the drawback on college, it's really hard for college to be in the summer because it's a school-based thing, and
Right.
it's not feasible.
Mm-hmm. I do hope, like, thinking of this past collegiate basketball season, probably the most watched,
Yep.
definitely the most watched finals,
That's
like
great.
probably the most watched season where people that knew nothing about women's hoops are
Mm-hmm.
paying attention. So I hope when those women, because most of them are coming back, right? Most of those stars are coming back. We get a whole another year. I hope that does garner more interest for the WNBA, for people wanting to, because they're kind of attached to those players, right?
Right.
And so they now have a vested interest in those players.
Yeah, college hoops is just special, women or male. Like it's an amazing time, I think. And it's the beauty of it. As a kid who didn't play the entire season will drop 30 points in an elimination game in March Madness. And I think that's some of the most exciting stuff. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. I don't think it's going to go down the same way that, if depending how the season goes, I don't think it's going to go down the same way. I think LSU is just a juggernaut now with Haley.
Well, I'll say they had that other girl transfer in.
Right.
Holy shit! Like
Haley
that
Van
was.
Lith she was just at Team USA as well. She just won a
Was
medal.
she?
She broke her gold medal, but that's okay. She didn't care.
How do you break your gold medal?
I didn't read into it. I don't know what I'm trying to figure it out, but I haven't heard. She was just lit. She was on Instagram Live. She's like,
Okay.
I don't care. And I was like, okay, but I would care. But
I would care too. Yeah. I'd be like, when I'm sober with the super glue out, like, I need to put this.
Yeah, I think it was just like it's we know what it's called. It's like a necklace or something that it goes to. What would you, right, but what would you call that?
The lanyard, baby.
The lanyard, right? I don't want to call it a lanyard because it's so thick. You know what I mean? But it's not like a medallion.
The ribbon part.
Right, and it ripped. So I think
that's easy to replace.
I was like,
thought you meant like she busted that part.
No, yeah, I think that part was fine. But watching Caitlin and Angel do what they did, even though I was very frustrated through a big part of it because of the blowout with Angel, and that was just like a ridiculous. It was just modern day racism at its finest.
Yeah.
It was racism at its finest, and I think it just showed. It spoke volumes to how the community feels, not only about women but about women of color who just try to do their thing every single day. Because Caitlin did it first, and I will always reiterate that Caitlin did it. Yeah, Caitlin did it first. I don't want to hear shit about it. She might not have done it to Angel, but she did it first. I don't want to.
She did it.
Yeah. The only blowback I had was like towards the very end, like when final whistles blew and Angel ran up to her and was just talking shit. I was like, oh man, give it like 5 seconds.
Yeah, maybe just give it like another.
I was like, bro, just go enjoy your moment. Go enjoy your moment. Like that one was like, I love shit talking. But in that moment, I was like, nah, just go celebrate. Just go celebrate.
Yeah,
that's a bad look.
Yeah, that was. But I mean, the same sense, she's what, 20 years old?
Facts. I don't even.
I
was a demon when I was 20. I was playing football, giving guys
I can't be that angry at her.
But no, I love Angel. I love what Angel does for the game. I love Haley. I love what she does. Caitlin. I mean, if you were to tell me right now who's going to be the number 1 overall pick, I still think it's to be determined. Depending on if Indiana gets it, I would bet it's Caitlin. But it's really just going to come down to what team needs what.
Well, right, yeah. You need to figure out what the individual teams.
Right, like Aaliyah Boston. I would imagine you're not going to get Angel Reese and Aaliyah Boston together in Indiana if Indiana has the number 1 pick. But I like that Seattle is still really bad right now. So I think that's something. You just lost Sue Bird. You bring in a Caitlin Clark in the world. I think that's. Just passing the torch. I think it'd be really cool. But I think this year is going to be really dope for just college basketball and women's basketball in general. I think you're going to get a lot more views. I've seen the pre-sales for women's basketball in Iowa. I've been to Iowa.
They had to close it down because it just got insane, which is you don't think about that for women's hoops. Back when I was at Penn State, again, before you were born or when you were born-ish.
Go ahead. Say it again.
Yeah. But we did have a good women's hoop program, especially my first couple of years, like the 02-03 era. And they would sell out the Bryce Jordan Center. The men's team wouldn't, but the women's team would, when it was like a big game.
Right.
So it's exciting to see that energy back into it. Now, South Carolina lost what, 3 or 4 seniors?
Yeah, a lot. K on
Did
a
they
trailer.
did they get much in return? Have they? I haven't really seen anything about transfer portal. So South Carolina might be not not where they were last year this year,
Right.
but it's definitely gonna be the LSU.
Yeah, I definitely in that whole matchup. I even said it. I was like, nah, like they're not making it. I knew they were too good in that run, and I didn't hear about any transfers specifically. I haven't been
I
following
didn't
it, but
hear.
I
Yeah.
did hear they have great recruiting coming in, and they have a
Okay.
great
I
new
mean,
class.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, who wouldn't want to play for her?
Right.
You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
And especially too, like
Asia Wilson and all of them that have come
it's
through
like when
those doors.
when you have a black woman as a head coach of a program that is, you know, one of the premier ones, and she was also a premier WNBA player. It's
Mhm.
like, how, if that woman came to your living room and was like, I want you to play for me, that's hard to say no to, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure, and I
But then
think
you look at LSU's coach, and I mean,
yeah,
she's look,
she's there.
she's there. Look, so I have another assignment for you. There is a podcast, it's called In Her Shoes,
Okay,
and it goes through the history of women's basketball, like through kind of that initial era
right.
when it first became a college sport. And they're talking about the times of Louisiana Tech and how they became that powerhouse when it first came around. Part of it was that coach. Well, she was on the team,
Hmm.
but her coach, she was the first one to really start to recruit. And just going into all the history, and then it was like why some of the men started getting the women's jobs because they sucked at coaching men. Then there was money in women. It's another thing for you to listen to. I think you would enjoy it.
I'll
A
check it
lot
out.
of history. So
I'll
that's kind of
definitely check it out.
my tangent of women's college hoops. So it was great to just see LSU win, to see their coach,
Mhm.
coming back to her home state. And I had like just in that past year listened to that podcast. So really learning more about the history of the Louisiana Tech team,
Right.
what they started, and to see it kind of bring back. It was like a nice little full circle to me.
Yeah, for sure. I love their coach. I just think like it's weird. Like I have a very like a love-hate relationship. I'm a very like culture setter kind of
Mm-hmm.
person, and I think she doesn't really establish a culture. I think
Mm,
she's an amazing basketball coach. I think she understands the fundamentals of basketball and she understands the schematics like nobody else. But like the I just let them be them kind of thing
mm,
I think is a very dangerous game. I think right now it worked, in your first
true.
go.
Mm-hmm.
But I also see Angel right now, and I see her with her Bentley, and I see her buying everybody Louis Vuitton stuff. She's getting her endorsements, and I love that for her. But I also know the academic Angel Reese who had issues, just
Mm,
staying in the classroom and just staying on top of her stuff. And I'm not wishing anything negative upon anybody, but when you don't have that structure and you don't have these individuals trying to get on your back about, hey, you need to be the best version of you everywhere across the board. I feel like coming off a championship, everybody's kind of in that hangover stage, and it's like, what is LSU going to look like going into this year? I think they're still going to be a powerhouse with Haley. I think no matter what, they figure it out. But you got to be able to play first and foremost. And I think, you got to
yep.
keep these women in check. You got to make sure they're humbled and understand that. And when you kind of just, hey, I let them be them, that's a very dangerous situation, like we were talking about for a 20-year-old.
True.
Because,
That
I
this
mean,
is a 20-year-old.
right, you're a
Yeah.
20-year-old and the world is at your feet right now. So it's like, I can't blame you. You know what I mean? I would probably be in the same
Act a
spot.
fool
So,
too, right?
but I can
Yeah.
blame the individual who doesn't hold you accountable. So I
Yeah.
think that's where I do love South Carolina and so many other
Yes.
places, because it's
Yeah.
like
She will humble
it's a
you.
no
That
nonsense type of
yeah.
facility. And then
Hmm.
I have a woman wearing feathers on her shoulders, and
Fair.
I'm
Fair.
like,
This is true. I mean, I definitely had the
which I think
nose.
is cute though. I think it's
It's
what it's her
fun. It's
granddaughter. It's her granddaughter picks out the dresses
yeah.
or
So,
something.
something like yeah. But
That's
yeah,
dope.
it's cute. But no, I get it. Like I definitely came from hard line coaches
Yeah.
where yeah, if you're not humble, they'll humble you.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my college coach, he's now the coach at Arkansas.
Mhm.
His wife was a professional track athlete as well, and I had her on a few weeks, and she was like, she had her husband and then she had her coach. Her coach would be like, "Your tears don't affect me." I was like, "Oh." felt
Yeah.
that in my soul, but that's like what I needed
Right.
as a coach. I did not want a coach that just let me be me. I
Right.
needed a coach that would humble me and keep me in line and lift you up. But yeah, no, I agree.
Right. And
You
that's where
need the
I was at.
structure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with coaching as well. Like I've like when I was in track and I was going to state in back-to-back years. My guy was Coach Mike, and if you know Chicago sports and Chicago public schools, Coach Mike was 300 pounds and had no business coaching track. So he just
Yeah.
kind of let me show up. I did my thing. There was no structure, and I felt like I probably would have been a lot more focused on college, and that would have been on my radar if I had someone that was a little more structurally sound. But my baseball coach, Joe Mack, who I was coaches with this past year, and Ben Needage was my football coach, and those guys saved my life because the guys I grew up with and the people that I was surrounded by in high school and everywhere else was not the greatest of people, and it's something that those individuals will show you very quickly. This is what it's going to look like if you don't take things seriously, if you don't try to. They always say you want to get out of the rat race. And then I feel like there's so many different levels to that, to where it's like, this is the kind of system that they're going to try to put you into, especially when you come from the city and you're just especially a male in the city. I mean, there's so much you have to act like the toughest guy,
Yep,
the
gotta be a
alpha
tough guy.
everywhere. And it's like, nah, bro, like I listen to Kid Cudi and Chance the Rapper. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, you're not going to catch me like listening to straight drill music all day. Like I'm just hanging out, man. I'm just having a good time. Like, but it's something that me as a coach now, like I have these experiences that I've experienced outside of the public schools and some inside. And it's like, I know the athlete and I know the kid who has to go walk home every single day and experience what I experience out there. And you have to be able to relate that with them. And when you have suburban guys coming in here and trying to coach these schools on the south side, I said you are going to get humbled very quickly.
Yeah,
that we don't give a fuck. Like, we don't care if you don't care. Like, that's fine. And I think that's the beauty of my just first experience coaching, was I actually got to talk to a few people and really just kind of impact them, and they impacted me in so many different ways. And it was just a great time.
Nice. I love that. So let's talk about, I know we talk about a lot about college hoops because that's more of kind of my thing for women, but let's talk
Always
about the
have me on, talk about college hoops anytime.
I know, right? So let's jump back into the WNBA, and I will say, so back again around when you were born in the year 2005, I interned for the Detroit Pistons and the Detroit Shock, our old WNBA team, in my summer as soon as my track season ended.
Right.
So my day one of my internship was game one of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. But that's the year that we lost. But it was awesome because at the time, I mean, Detroit Shock is long since no longer been, but I did get to do the WNBA stuff as well. And that's when I first started really paying attention to WNBA, right? It was from Michigan. Basketball used to be my first love. Now it's football because, well, don't even get me started on the tangent. NBA got soft. I don't want to hear it. Everyone wants to hit the three. No one wants to go to the hole. No one wants to play Bill Laimbeer style basketball.
I have a little pushback. I do think guys now are so much stronger and so much more fit. I just think the beating the shit out of each other part is just not a part of it. But like if you were to show me Bill Laimbeer versus Giannis right now, I'd be like, I'll take Giannis.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Someone needs to make a video game where they take all these legends and put their skills together, and then they can play with the current day to shut people like me up, and then give Bill Laimbeer a foul every time he does something he can't do anymore.
I think Ronnie 2K would spend way too much time trying to put that game together.
Right, like how do you even put together player profiles from the 80s, the 90s? But anyway, so talk about the WNBA and obviously the Sky. We won a few years ago. We have
don't say that. Damn, that was wow.
Sorry, it wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Wow.
But it's like
it's just two. It's not that.
I mean, but it is still 2 years ago.
But it's growing pretty quick.
It is growing, and I mean, looking at it, right? Like the coach has been there. Wade's
Right.
been there for 4 years now,
Four or
fifth,
five.
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
So we're in a new era,
Right.
but the WNBA has changed a lot. Like just looking at the Sky's roster, it has changed a lot. Where do you see the Sky fitting in to the Eastern Conference and the WNBA as a whole this year?
I'd like to answer your question with a question.
Uh-oh.
What's changed
The
with the
players.
with the Sky?
The players.
Everything else is the same. The
Mm.
way they play is the same. The style in which they do it is the same. The energy has been the same. James Wade talked to me the entire offseason. He talked to everybody. And
Mhm.
I love giving him his flowers because he'll go on tangents about it in post games. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but I'll say it for him. We don't give a fuck. And I'm sure he said it that way too in
Mhm.
practice, just not to the media, because they be finding him all the time. But they don't give a fuck what New York is doing or what Las
Mm.
Vegas is doing. At the end of the day, they're playing Chicago Sky basketball. And it's not a rebuild when you're with James Wade as the
Mm.
GM and the head coach. James Wade understands that we traded all those picks for Marina Mabrey for a reason, and she's out here balling, and she looks like she's definitely going to make the All-Star game. I don't know if she's going to be starting in the All-Star game. You got to show me the list. I got to see the list first.
Right.
I got to look at the
Yeah.
numbers. I don't have it on me right now, but Kalia Copper, she
Mhm.
was my MVP pick for the beginning of the year, and she is still my MVP pick right now.
She's hitting what, 20 points a game ish?
I think it's 18 and a half or
Oh, my
something right
bad,
now,
18
but
and a half.
exactly. But if I say 20, then guys are gonna come at me and it's gonna be like,
Yeah.
but I have to get it right, or people are gonna be like, you're just fanboying. And I'm like, that's my dog. Like, but no, like them doing their thing, Dana Evans, who, was such a homegrown hero in the finals and
Mhm.
then barely even played last year, now
Mm.
is in all-star contention votes. And that's something for me. Elizabeth Williams, who the numbers aren't gonna blow you out of the water, but she is probably one of the most intelligent women I've understood about just understanding the game and just life. She's a genius. Alana Smith, amazing at what she does. My friend
Mhm.
Morgan Birch, she's a hustler. I mean, she had a leg infection that made her miss her rookie year. She
Oh.
had COVID, missed to the following year. Then she just got cut the third year. Now she's finally in her rookie season, and she's balling. Rebecca Gardner, that's my dog. I mean, absolute dog. Courtney Williams, who is the calm of this team, and
Mhm.
Kalia Copper's the engine, and them
Mhm.
doing what they've done is
That's a
just
great duo to have.
you have probably, in my opinion, a better roster than you had last year,
Mm.
especially with, and I say it 10 toes down. If Robin Parks was on this team last year, I believe we go to the finals. And
Mm.
I believe her 3-point shooting and what she's able to bring to this team, alongside Dana Evans getting more minutes, which that's a whole different conversation. But I wish she got a little bit more playing time than Allie at sometimes during the Connecticut series. But I understood it. I respected it. That's your dog at the end of the day. Allie's been here from the beginning and you're going to treat her as such. But I think when you really look at it for what it is, and I'm not just trying to make them sound so much bigger than what they are, but that's how they take it. They do not
Mm.
care what anybody's doing. And they're playing Chicago Sky basketball. That's why they went 1-1 with the Liberty. And to be completely honest, not to
Didn't they
play
lose one of those games by 1 point?
by 1 point, and not
One
to
point.
be devil's advocate, but they only had 7 players available in that game.
Oh
And
shit.
Rebecca Gardner's not in that game. Morgan Birch isn't in that game. Izzy Harrison's not in that game. Isabel Harrison's going to be such a huge factor when she comes in here. I mean, we all know who Izzy is, and Izzy's a bucket. So to see her not in so far, I mean, it's just been crazy. And when they get it healthy and they have a full blown rotation, that's my dog Frank.
Right.
But when they get everything together,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a problem, and I think they
Okay.
can go with anybody.
Okay. I like what you said about what's changed. I'm like, well, what's changed, but when
Nothing.
you say it like that, I mean, you're right. The coach is the same. The game plan is the same. He has a program. He has a system. It's not all about one player. It's about the
Right.
team and what the team is doing. Okay. I like it. I like it. So to answer my question of can anyone beat Las Vegas this year,
Yeah.
you're going to say yes.
Uh,
So would you say Vegas is on a scale of 1 to 10 of beatability? How beatable are they?
I think right now they're a 6. I
Oh,
think for the Chicago Sky. I
Yeah.
think it's a 6.
Okay.
Because there's moments where they're not all in sync. And I think
Mm.
that's obviously a conversation we're currently having on what is it, June 14th. So
Right.
that's the same issue right now with Jonquel Jones trying to figure out her situation in New York and try to find her role, still coming off
Hmm.
an injury, Salute, and everybody else coming into that fold. Brianna Stewart. It's going to take some time to really just start meshing with Sabrina and everybody else. Um,
And
I
this is the
think,
question too, right? When we're looking, because individual games, yes,
yeah.
in a series,
And
you
I think,
know.
yeah, in a series, Skytown travels deep. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of it, especially when you're home. I mean, when we're home,
Mm-hmm.
it's a movie out there. And a lot of people like to make jokes about WNBA attendance, but the Chicago Sky never fail to sell seats. And I think even when they can't, they'll hit up the Chicago Park District and they'll bring in every single fifth grader to just scream their head off.
I love
Um,
that. Yeah.
and it's so much fun. It gets loud, it gets noisy in there.
Yeah.
But I think in a 7 game series, it's definitely going to go tick for tack, and I think you would have to give it to Vegas if you're making a bet on it, or you're Las Vegas, obviously, no pun intended, making the odds. But you have to look at it from a standpoint of who's been there. And
Hmm.
Courtney Williams has been there. Kalia Copper is the finals MVP.
Yep.
Of course, you're going up against the defending champs who pulled a KD and brought in Candace Parker, but Candace right now also it's June, but Candace is throwing up 10 points per game. Like
Yep.
it's not your typical Candace Parker. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but the idea of this is a super team. There's been super teams throughout the history of the WNBA forever. Now
Hmm.
it's just in the spotlight.
Right. Is it, there's a salary cap in the WNBA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can never have a super duper team. You know what I mean? This ain't baseball. You can't buy a team. You still have the
Yeah,
same, amount of money that you got to work
the Candace contract was interesting, but that's a conversation for a different day. And the
with.
scandal with Hamby and everything that went on with that, but yeah, I mean, hey, they found a way to do it. The Sky did it last year, bringing in Emma Meeseman and having everybody come back for one last run, and
Hmm.
that's what I meant by like, hey, listen, like we had Sloot, Allie, Candace, Z. I mean, the list goes on of just individuals: Kalia Copper, Emma Meeseman, Rebecca Gardner. Like we had everybody, and we were running it back. So we lost to Connecticut just because
That was,
to Kurt Miller,
yeah,
like out of all people,
it was a
fully
it was a
disrespectfully.
surprising series. I remember watching. They didn't play well in that series.
But that's my point. Is now you
Yeah,
have
true.
Isabel Harrison, now you have Elizabeth Williams, and you bring in all these individuals. Not even just to mention Marina and everybody else. Courtney Williams, who was a part of that Connecticut series, they are playoff proven, and they've
It's true.
all been here before. So to
Hmm.
me, and then the dogs you got in the rookies. I mean, man, I I would fear Morgan if she got playoff minutes. Like
Okay.
she's an absolute beast.
I love it. I love to hear this. And one thing too, I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day is, something that WNBA has that the NBA doesn't. NBA has too many games.
Yeah,
Games don't matter. WNBA does not have too many games. Each game in the WNBA season does matter. And I think that kind of, when you see Frank say something like they play with more love of the game, I don't necessarily, if it's more love of the game, Frank, I think it's more of a sense of urgency because
right,
it's a shorter season, because it's less games. Every game matters. NBA, not so much. You
right.
can jack off like for, 7 of them and then, come back and do a little
Right.
this. And I mean, shit, like look at the Heat got in on the 8 seed, where we have like 10, 12, like there's just
Yeah.
half the goddamn teams make the playoffs
Right.
now,
I'm
so
a big Jimmy Butler fan, so that topic
man.
is very touchy for me right now. But I'm 0-2 in the finals, but it's okay. It's okay.
It's all right, but I do have, before we wrap this show up,
Mhm.
I am bringing in somebody else here because he's got
Wow.
something for you. Oh, hey, unmute yourself, homie.
Sir,
Unmute
every time
yourself.
I do a show with this man, he is muted.
Don't worry. I can't unmute
What
you.
up, man? What up?
What's up, baby?
Man, I can't call it. You got the best hand. If I had yours, I'd cut mine off.
Man, come on. You know, I had to get some right. I had to shave the beard though. It was too much. It was too hot.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. You got that little young face, man.
Man, you know I'm at
So,
CHGO now, man. I gotta be presentable.
right. Plus, you're around all those ladies with the sky.
Man.
Hey, so you got to keep it clean, bro.
Man.
You trying to be the cute little ball boy?
They ain't looking at me. I promise you, they ain't looking at me. I'm not. When they look up, they have to look down to see me. Like I'm 5'8", Terrence. You know this.
Right. You run.
Hey, man, good things come in small packages.
Hey, short kings. My guy Tom Holland right now is Zendaya. Come on.
Pause.
But I couldn't have Terrence in for most of the show. He don't know shit about women's hoops.
I know.
He don't.
It's okay.
No, but you know what? I learned a little bit listening to you all. I learned a little.
Because he has been in the back the whole time listening. So I know he's listening. And Terrence, now you have to watch a little bit of Sky. We should go to a Sky. Okay, but you know what I will say? So I went to a hockey game with Terrence.
Which I didn't know shit about.
This man, first of all, he said it was the second hockey game he's been to that year, right? So there's a whistle at the very beginning. He was like, what was that for? I was like, icing. He goes, what's icing? I'm like, okay.
Just because he went doesn't mean he knew what was going on. He still went. Hey, Terrence, I believe in you, bro.
You did it. Yeah.
Thanks,
it's the Connor Bedard era. You can hop on the train right now. It's okay.
But now, Terrence, you know what icing is, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we're having Chris Chelios on the podcast on Tuesday. Possibly. Because I told him that I don't know shit either. So yeah.
Hey, I'll jump in. Just let me know.
Right, okay. Exactly.
I'll let you know.
If you want someone to talk about the heyday of the Red Wings.
Nah, we don't talk about that.
No, we ain't gonna
I was like, Chris Chile? Oh, yeah, I know that is.
We can talk about the 2010 era if you want to. But
no. But Terrence is here for a special surprise.
So we got a special little game for you, Mike.
Oh, man.
And
I remember. Fuck, man. You told me there was a game. You told me there was a game in the Be Ready. I'm not.
And it's called How Chicago Are You?
Joe, come on.
So I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Man.
And you have 10 seconds to answer each one.
Terrence, I've had 4 concussions. You got to give me like 20.
I'll give you 10 slow seconds. How about that?
All right, I could do maybe.
So if you answer more than half of them right, you're from Chicago. We'll give you a pass.
Come on, Joe.
But if you get less than half of them,
I'm gonna get all this shit wrong, bro.
You from the suburbs, dog. You ain't from Chicago.
I don't want to hear none of this, dude.
And Terrence, remember too, he's young as fuck. So
come on.
Yeah, so it's certain questions I had to cross out because I was like, okay, damn, he wasn't even born.
Man, right. Hey, I want it known right now. If it has anything to do with streets or like locations, I'm directionally challenged as fuck. Like I know how to get to places.
No, we are not starting with excuses.
It's not an excuse. It's just a fact.
Results.
It's just a fact. If you're like
no excuses, no prefaces, none of that.
I'm just letting you know, like, hey man, I could take you there. Can't tell you how to get there though. That's all.
So during that 10 seconds, you're going to hear this.
I hear it.
So you back out. Then you got to give us the answer.
Man.
All right.
And you got to put your hands up too, so no Googling.
Oh man, I got my hands right here.
No Googling.
No asking Alexa.
Man.
All right, you ready? Let's get into it.
Let's kick this thing off. Oh yeah, Sherry's from Detroit.
I know. So I picked that up.
He gets questions right, and you don't. Come on, man.
What kind of questions? What kind of questions are these? Are these sports questions or are these just questions?
It's gonna be some of everything.
Chicago,
it's gonna be sports. It's gonna be music. It's gonna be geography.
What music?
Chicago music.
Your music or my music?
Let's get it started.
Let's get into it.
So number 1,
King Von. My bad.
What is the tallest building in Chicago?
What the fuck? I don't know. Check me out.
You don't know the tallest
Check me out.
building?
We don't care. The
Okay.
John Hancock.
No.
Willis
No. Pause
Tower.
when you say that. Pause when you say that.
Hey,
Pause.
resume.
It's the Willis.
The tallest building, Willis Tower, but no one calls it Willis.
Formerly
It's the
Spears
Sears
Tower.
Tower. It's
Sears
still the
Tower.
Sears Tower. First of
Man,
all.
that's like the first thing you learned in first grade.
See, but it wasn't though, bro. You thought I was paying attention in first grade. I went to. I'll give you a trivia question. What kind of school did Mike go to?
What kind of school?
CPS, sir. I didn't learn nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe
Oh,
I
bro.
have to give you a pass on that.
Man,
then.
Shorty sat down, got on her laptop, and we just hung out for like 6 hours a day. It was a good time.
Oh wow, what fun! CPS was. I'm glad I didn't have that experience.
So
Okay, number 2. This is kind of a lob for you.
The last one was a lob.
Yeah, but I felt like the Sears Tower was like an obvious answer, so I second guessed myself, and I was like, "Fuck it, John."
All right, here we go. What was the first professional women's basketball team in Chicago?
Oh fuck! What were they called? No,
Man, you
it's
gotta
be
get
guy.
this one.
It's
right.
gotta be this guy. It's gotta be this guy. I'm very young. Because the Sky started in 2004.
It was the team. What did EC Hill play for during that one league?
Are we talking WNBA or the first women's basketball
Just the
team?
women's professional team.
Women's professional basketball team.
Sky were in
Yeah,
2004.
there were a couple leagues before.
No, I
It
know.
was one of the earlier.
Fuck. It's not the WNBA, so no one's gonna hold me for it. I don't know.
All right, never mind. It's the Chicago Hustle.
Yes.
Chicago
I knew
Hustle.
this.
Red, white, and blue. They were in
Mhm.
1978 until 81.
Bro, what? 78?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
What do you want from me, dog?
But I figured you would know that because you into women's basketball.
There was another. What was the team, Terrence, in between that one and the Sky? What was the middle team?
The Condors.
I thought it was the Comets or something.
The Condors, but they never played the game.
How's that work?
What team did EC play for?
That's what I was trying to remember. I'll look it up.
Damn.
Keep going.
Well, they're gonna call me.
All right. So right now you are 0 for 2.
Hey man, nah, that 1.5. Come on.
All right, I get
1978.
Sherry, should we give him half a point?
For what? Showing up?
Yeah. For what?
I mean, dude, you didn't even name a WNBA team. You were just like 1978. What is that?
Well, you know all the WNBA teams.
That's not WNBA.
All right. So we're going on to number 3. You're 0 for 2 right now,
Hey,
sir.
that's okay.
What famous rapper came out of O Block in Chicago?
Lil Durk, King Von. Well, there's a bunch. I personally myself, Lil Durk and King Von.
So you get half a point.
You want me to say Keith?
King Von. Chief Keef. Okay, now you get a full point.
Okay, we could keep doing it.
Keith.
Well, yeah, but Keith moved to LA and he never came back. So
I know, but we all know what that was. But he started off at O Block.
Right. No, yeah.
Okay, so you get that point. So you are 1 for 3, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so number 4. What museum is on 57th and DuSable Lakeshore Drive?
Science and English.
Ding, ding, ding. There you
Look
go.
at you. Science technology.
All right. So you are 2 for 5.
2 for 4. What? Because it was the first.
Okay,
two?
yeah, 2 for 4. 2 for 4.
Don't hold me on questions, bro. I'm counting.
2 for 4. All right.
I'm a competitor, dog.
Okay. Now this one is live. You were born.
Does it matter?
Barely, but you were born. What year did the White Sox win the World Series?
2005.
Man, he hit that with a quickness. Because I was about to start thinking.
They ain't did shit since.
Music didn't even play.
No,
Good
it was
job.
05.
Well, they talk about it every day. They'd be like, "Oh man, but 2005." I imagine
that's the only thing. That's the
like.
only thing they can hold on to, right?
Yeah,
Man.
I'm a Cubs fan, so I hear it all the time. So I'm like 2016, bro. It's more. I imagine it's like what Pistons fans are like. They just always mention 2004. Like, I guess. I guess.
Cubs fans hold on to that 2016
with my chest, bro. With my chest out.
They hold on to that, boy.
I'm gonna watch the highlights tonight before I go to bed.
Oh, I love it.
All right,
Mike, how often do you go to Cubs games?
I work there. I'm actually grounds crew. So I'm there every day.
No shit, I live up the street.
Really?
Yeah, I live on Sheridan.
Dude, let me know. I go to Chick-fil-A every day. I probably shouldn't say that. Probably now there's gonna be people following me to Chick-fil-A, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Chick-fil-A in Wrigleyville on a Cubs win, you get a free Chick-fil-A sandwich. Just throwing that out there.
Unless it's a Sunday, then you ain't get shit.
Yeah, they fucked me over because they won on Saturday, and I was like, so I guess shit just doesn't. I came in Monday, they're like, no, and I was like, what do you mean no? Like, that's your fault. Whatever.
So you are 3 for 5. 3 for 5.
3 for 5.
Come on,
let's do this shit.
That's
I should have got the first one. I should have got the fucking first one, bro.
For a youngster.
You weren't in it in the first one. You weren't in it. You were second guessing yourself. You were making excuses. You weren't like,
Man.
Okay.
I'm here now.
So,
the old block one saved me.
What Chicago pizza is viewed as tourist pizza?
Oh, it's deep dish, but it's trash, bro.
You mean the type of pizza or
deep
which
dish?
place?
No, the place.
The place.
The place. What do you like? Wait, what do you? I'm confused on the question.
Like, who makes it?
Like, I'm under the impression it's just deep dish pizza. I thought that was like the tourist.
So I'm
pizza.
going.
No, like
if I told you I'm going to so and so, you're gonna say, "Oh, that's tourist pizza."
Like you going to Domino's.
I mean, like Lumonati's is one of those. If you look at it, I mean, you could look at D'Agostino's as one of those too. Like, they're the big name ones that, you know, everyone will tell you to go to, but there's a bunch of little tavern spots. I think that's a really like who you asking kind of question personally. Like, because there's a lot of people that feel a bunch of different. That's a whole podcast in itself.
Kind of is.
I'm gonna say, was it Luminati's or Gino's East?
Gino's or Lou's for sure.
Yeah, those are the most well-known ones.
Diog's is another one.
Giordano's.
I did say Giordano's too. Giordano's.
But you know what? That's
debatable question, Terrence.
I just think it's up to a lot of different people. Like,
yeah, that's kind of subjective.
So I think I hear,
you can give him that point. I'm okay with that. This pizza is trash. So
I like it. I just
4 for 6. Wow, you killing them right now. All right, number 7. This one's not easy.
That's none of them have.
This was not easy. You weren't born.
That's fine.
But we gonna try it anyway.
Michael Jordan.
What famous ball player is not from Chicago, but was drafted out of Farragut High School in Chicago?
Can I get a year? Like, what era are we talking about?
I mean, I was born.
That's a long stretch. That's a stretch.
Wait a minute. What?
That could be a lot of years.
Come on, dog. I ain't that old. I'm only 33.
That's a whole 10 years. All right.
Be quiet, Cher Bear. Be quiet.
Drafted. Out
okay,
of where?
So we're talking the mid-90s.
Out of where?
Farragut High School.
On the Bulls.
He's not from Chicago. So
on the Bulls, though. Okay, cool. On the Bulls.
He transferred into Farragut High School.
You got to give me one. I'm gonna ask one last question, and it's a valid question. Okay. Does this guy suck, or is he like? No. Would you remember him?
No, I wouldn't ask you. I wouldn't ask you about a dude that sucks.
Well, that's the thing,
though. Said, what famous ball player?
Okay. You did say famous.
Oh, they're all famous.
You remember Granville Waiters?
I'm gonna say Scotty.
No, because he wasn't famous.
It's not Scotty. It's not Scotty.
Kevin Garnett.
Really?
Yes. Kevin Garnett. He's not from Chicago. However, he transferred to Farragut High School.
I thought you meant
someone that played for the Bulls too.
I thought you meant played on the Bulls. That's why I was trying to. The math wasn't mathing.
Okay, so why would y'all think that?
Because you said that.
Because you said that. We had to run it back.
I said famous ball player.
You said famous Chicago basketball player.
Right.
Famous.
That's not what I said.
It's debatable. I don't know. I'm kind of on Mike's team on this one because I started thinking about people that played for the. I don't know about the point, but I would just say we can't count that question.
I want a half a point for making me think too hard.
We'll do half a point.
All right, so you are 4 for 8
and a half.
4.5
and a half.
What is
4 for 7? I think it's 4 for 7. I think that was 7.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Swear to God.
I'm not counting that last question, Terrence, because you didn't word it correctly.
I did. I said what? I said what famous ball player is?
Yeah, and I totally.
And he asked you. He was like, "Did he play for Chicago?" And you said yes.
No, I didn't.
Yes, because you weren't paying attention and you were just speaking.
I was like,
this is why I don't have men on my show because they don't listen.
I listen. I listen. I just don't remember. You know what I mean? Like if you told me an anniversary date, I'd be like, cool.
We're gonna go on to number 8. Name the 3 largest cities in Illinois behind Chicago.
Well, how is that a Chicago question? I don't give a fuck about anything else. That's not it. Who cares about Illinois? That's a fact. Chicago's not Illinois.
Tonight, huh?
You got very angry.
Bro, that's like what? Man, Rockford for sure. Naperville? Nah. I don't know, bro. Illinois is huge. Illinois is like a little Russia. I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
Can I guess?
So the answer is
I want to guess.
Go ahead.
Rockford.
Naperville.
Evanston.
Evanston's not a city. It's like a little weird thing.
I thought Evanston's a city.
It's like a little weird thing.
It's like a little town, you know. But it's not like there's no like.
Okay,
so the correct answer is Aurora.
Oh.
Aurora's ghetto.
Joliet.
Oh.
Then Naperville.
Oh.
And Rockford is after that.
I was told this were Chicago questions.
It didn't prepare.
These are Chicago questions.
It's not. No, because you know what? You want to know the real answer? I'll win this little quiz right away. If anybody thinks that Naperville or any of that is Chicago, you're a damn lie. Like Cole Komet, respectfully, you're not from Chicago. Sorry.
Aw.
So, sir, you are 4 for 8 right now.
Man, I'm killing this shit.
So
I should be 5 for 8. But John,
so you got 2 more questions.
2 more questions. Let's go.
What former Cubs player?
Oh, come on.
Was known as the Bull?
The Bull.
Is it during his lifetime or not?
Not during my lifetime.
No.
Not during my lifetime. Bull. I see this every day. Bull.
Is it one of the statues, Terrence?
Nah.
No.
It's not a statue player.
Not a statue. It's the pitcher.
Who?
Who's the pitcher? No. Fuck, man, that one's gonna hurt me. You're gonna say it, and it's gonna piss me off. Nah, Terrence, I ain't got you on that one.
Leon Durham.
Leon Durham. I ain't even gonna fake that one.
What year is that?
Man, that was like the mid 80s.
Fucking hate you, Terrence. I can't stand you, Terrence.
Hey, but it's Cubs. You work for the Cubs.
That don't mean nothing. They a horrible place to work. But
damn, how do you really feel about it?
Treat you like shit, man. Tell you that.
Damn. I hope they're not watching right now.
I hope they are. I'm not coming in tomorrow.
All right, number 10. And this is a lob. But if you don't get it, you gotta get it. Okay.
It happens
What
if you don't.
are the 3 names of White Sox Park?
Oh, Comiskey, Guaranteed, and U.S. Cellular.
Man, I'm so glad you got that.
I love White Sox Park. I hate the White Sox, but I love the park.
They have a great park.
Yeah.
Okay,
so there's not a lot of fans in it though.
The Margarita Man and the Hooters station.
Oh, so I survived. I got half.
Survived. You survived.
You were 5 out of 10.
I just like to keep the listeners waiting, you know. It was strategic.
You just barely made it by the little hair that you cut off of your chin. You just barely made it.
You know what? I did it on purpose just to give the listeners like on the edge of their seat. I was
right.
John Hancock, you know? Like,
starting off a little scary there on there.
Bro, resume. What? We can't. What's pause about John Hancock? It's his name.
Keep saying it. Keep saying it.
So if you have Dick Butkus on your show, are you just gonna pause every time you ask him a question? I wouldn't laugh at Dick. Like that's
I would laugh every time I hear that name as long as he's on the screen.
Oh man. Hey,
it's one of the greatest names of all time.
That's a bad man right there, though. That's a bad man.
He probably was teased like a motherfucker in school.
I don't think so.
Why you think he got so good?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say anything to him.
Dick butt kiss.
Well,
shout out to Dick Butkus. Shout out to Dick Butkus.
Right? Come on everyone's show, Mr. Dick Butkus.
Yes, please. Please. Okay, so
well, thank
my
you,
portion is done.
Yes. Your portion is done.
You know what it was? It was the O Block one that saved me. It really just started everything. I was
that gave you your confidence.
It was some shit I knew about. I was like, thank God.
See, I had to ask my daughter about that because I don't really know shit.
I was surprised that you. I was like, oh, I don't know.
I don't really know that. So
I do.
I told Tiara that I needed some young questions.
How old is your daughter?
She's 22.
Oh, I'm 23. Okay, that's valid. Then she said Keith because I was like, if she was younger, I was like, what do you even know about Keith? Come on now, that's my dog.
Remember, Lil Durk talked about him in the song.
Man, who's Lil Durk compared to Chief Keef? Come on, come on, bro. We gotta be real here. He started everything.
I really don't give a shit about either one.
Oh God, I'm a Von guy myself. I was always a Von guy, but
it's been great, guys. I'm out.
Bye, T-Nick.
See ya. Good job, Mike.
Thanks, T. He tried to get me.
Man, he almost got you.
I'm telling you though, that Bulls one, you were with me, right? Like he said it was a Bulls player.
He did. Yeah, he did mess that one up.
That's why I was like,
in his delivery, I was like, And the pizza one, that's too opinionated. You can't have an opinionated question.
Right. Like Lou's was my answer, but Lou's is my favorite pizza spot. Like it. I personally, I just get the meatball sandwich, and I'm happy with that. But
there you go.
Right.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show tonight. Thank you for entertaining T-Nick in the game. Yeah. And on that note.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.